Hey everyone, this is Eric L. Patterson, the executive editor here at EGM, and I am joined today by Andrew Fitch. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, I'm Andrew Fitch, EGM's managing editor, and we're going to look at Bladestorm Nightmare today.
Yes, and I have you here because you are the expert in everything historical.
I wouldn't say an expert, but I mean, I'm probably the one who actually went to college and took history classes, so I guess that makes me the most qualified of anyone.
I was wondering if you could just stop at college. It's like that was as far as you were going to go. So this is a Koei Tecmo game. It originally came out on the PS2 as just Bladestorm. I should know offhand when it came out.
At least 2007.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I think that might be right.
Because back then, I believe I played a preview build at some point when I was at 1UP, and I went back and looked through, and I didn't review it, but I definitely played a preview build somewhere at some point.
So do you remember anything about the game?
I remember it being Dynasty Warriors-esque, set in the 100 Years' War, and that's all I remember, basically. And that might not even be the case. That's just what I remember.
So, yes, you are at least partially correct. It is set during the 100 Years' War. And what is the 100 Years' War?
100 Years' War was a 100-year war between France and England in the 14th and 15th centuries. The only reason most Americans would even know about it is because of the presence of Joan of Arc.
Now, was it actually 100 years?
I think it's a little over 100 years.
Okay.
Is I think what it was. I'd have to check, but
Sometimes
off the top of my head,
they say the war end all wars and didn't really end wars, you know. So like
well, no war actually ends wars.
So this is Bladestorm Nightmare, which is a new version, and the interesting thing about this is it now has the Nightmare scenario, which is completely different. Now, do you know anything about Nightmare scenario?
I have no idea about Nightmare scenario.
I'm not going to spoil it yet. That will come at the end. We'll take a few minutes to look at that. So we know we're going to get started, and so this is, like I said, the other day I got a chance to play Bladestorm Nightmare, and we're going to go into the main mode first. I had not known anything about this game going into it, so you actually, from your memory, you knew more than I did going in.
Yeah, and these are memories way back, like 7 years ago. I mean, that was previous lifetime for me and really everyone.
Yeah, and it's an interesting game because, like, I think out of everything that Koei Tecmo could kind of bring back at this point, and geared towards the PS4 and everything, this is like, I don't remember Bladestorm at all, and I don't know if anybody remembers Bladestorm. So this is of course France against England.
Well, you know, with the French, 2 battles of war, certainly. Now I fight for England.
It's always fun, like, seeing like Japan's take on things like this.
England, I venture whithersoever the coin.
Well, did you ever play the PSP strategy game Jeanne d'Arc from Level 5?
It keeps being suggested to me that I should, but I never have.
Yeah, I played through all that one. I still remember that one. That was a bit different. That was a bit more anime inspired.
So kind of what they're setting up is the fact that in this game you actually play a mercenary, so you can go between the two sides. You can at any point kind of pick if you want to support France or support England.
Heir to the French throne, a bitter war between England and France ravaged the French countryside. As these two mighty rivals contested power, it soon became evident that there was to be no simple resolution to this conflict. And with no discernible end to the fighting, the war drained the spirits of the troops on both sides. The result? Each side sought support for their cause. They sought out mercenaries. And now, another adventurous soul takes up arms and resolves to enter the merciless chaos of battle.
A Japanese guy.
Yes.
Is he Japanese?
No. The thing is, like, you get to that would be amazing if he was Japanese.
Well, no, because like we said, like the protagonists of these things made by Japanese people is always like 1/8, 1/16 Japanese guy.
Right.
In your face hitherto.
No.
You are one of those who would seek to become a mercenary.
Yeah, just some random Japanese guy shows up in
No simple task.
the middle of this
Only
war
the
to
best
solve all the problems of it.
Only the best survive.
No, so they're setting up that you're a mercenary, and so this is kind of the
How long are you intending to stand?
place.
Come here.
Keeps telling you to come hither. I don't know about this guy.
So you can make all this, like I said, all these kind of mercenaries. And you start off, you have, of course, your name, your gender, and everything. And this is going to be just me going through the character creator a little bit. I normally I take like an hour or so to make my character, but I was like rushed and I didn't want to spend forever on this.
Now, did they force you to make anyone, or could you make whoever you wanted?
You could make whoever you wanted.
God.
They weren't like sitting there saying you had to do anything.
Yeah, because when I did Hyrule Warriors recently, they're like, I was like, oh, I want to do this character, and they're like, you will play Ganon. That's who you will play.
Yeah, no, they weren't, and I don't show it in this video, but when I go to the Nightmare mode, I made this really funky looking guy, and I'm just like, I don't want to have like that be the representation of their game, so. And obviously stuff, you can pick your voice. And then this was kind of interesting because there's like a whole big list of squads. And I wasn't totally sure. And I think what this does is this kind of affects what squads you have available to you in the game, which we'll get to in a little bit here. And then your kind of standard character creator stuff. So I'm going to go through in a second here and just show off some of this stuff. And I always love how they have like pigtails and things.
Pigtails,
like
girls look like they're 8 years old.
Yes.
Thank you for picking the one who did not look like she looks like maybe 18.
You cannot have a Japanese game without having pigtails as one of the hairstyles. And I go through like a few of these, but then I find out there's like 100 and some, so I don't end up going through all of them.
So it's actually not bad. I mean, it's better than like the recent like WWE create a wrestler.
So I'm actually gonna make this character, and I accidentally back out and then back in, so in a few minutes you'll see a weird jump. So get the eye patches, and then of course we get to the glasses section, which I don't think it makes any sense during the 100 Years' War, but
no, I'm actually impressed with this character creator for a game that you wouldn't think would revolve around it. Like I said, it's better than the most recent WWE game, which again, in the past I had great character creators, but not this one.
Yeah, you can actually go in and just finally tune like
that's not proportional.
all your proportions and everything. It's like I always have a problem like trying to figure out if I want to go serious or go silly, and I almost never go silly, but I did for this video. The second here I was using my character I'm putting together. But like I always feel bad about going silly in a game like this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm not being authentic to the experience.
Well, that was because I've told you about the Unfrozen Caveman ball player I do for MLB The Show, and
yes.
I used to try to do it authentically, but then just out of the blue, just one year, I just the character models just looked really ugly and caveman-like, and it just hit me like I should make this caveman ball player. So sometimes it's just a moment of inspiration like that.
Yeah. So every now and then, like, you can have fun. And I mean, I remember back in the days of like WWE wrestling on the N64, like we'd make our own federation and have all these crazy characters. I remember, who was the guy with like the happy face on his crotch?
The wrestler?
Yes.
I don't know.
Like I don't know if it was the guy who played Beaver Cleaver, like what he did
Beaver
after.
Cleavage?
Beaver Cleavage, who did after that.
I don't.
There's some kind of like a big smiley face. Anyway,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I drew those like a big red circle and had like this Yakuza guy and stuff like that, and he just always wrestled in sunglasses and stuff. And
so, if there be anything you require, please speak with me.
the accents are a little weird in this game.
Yeah, he's like switching between accents here.
I have a contract for the battle in Normandy.
But to be fair, like, okay, what, England's blue and France is red, or England's red and France is blue? One of the two. So he does have both colors on his shirt. So,
Yeah.
Maybe his accents are also blending.
Many fighters as possible. It should be ideal for a mercenary's first assignment.
Mercenary?
I was like,
He might be Spanish, I don't know.
so, you can go in and, like, you can talk to some of these people to kind of get an idea of, because we're just starting, this is the very beginning of the game, so obviously there's going to be...
Deep thought.
They're giving me, like, the first quests to play, which I'll go on in a minute here. But this is kind of where you can come back and hear the gossip of what's going on, so and find other leads on mercenary-type jobs that are out there.
This is all I can offer you at the moment.
Yeah, so right here you can see I can already choose between France and England as the two sides. It's like, okay, French is blue.
I must advise you that your prime concern
And are you going to switch
is
between
right now.
sides throughout the game, or how does that work?
You can do as however you want. So you can actually fight just for one side, or you can fight for both. And I'm under the impression from what they were saying that they will have some kind of storyline consequences.
Now,
as to what you do.
Yeah. What was that game we all played? It was the ninja game where you could sort of do quests for different sides in that war. God, what was that game? It was the it was the early Vita game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
I cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Where they had like, the three different
factions.
warlords.
Yeah. God, what was that? But yeah, it's sort of like that where you're choosing between
Shinobito.
Shinobito, yeah,
Shinobito
Shinobito. Shinobito 2, that's right, yeah. Sort of like that then.
So this is getting into the
You are new, are you not?
the game.
Why do you look so worried? All right, let me tell you what you need to
I
know.
don't think
He feels more
it's
Irish.
Irish Frenchman.
They were just like, we need people from Europe. Just wherever they can come from, get some Europeans and let's dub this thing. So I walked into this, there was a group of like sword and shield soldiers. So you can walk up and like kind of take them over as their commander.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how you play the game. And so now, if the bottom right corner, you see I have 3 different kinds of attacks. And what's really weird is you hold, it says R1, so I think it was the R1 button, where you just hold that button in and you just kind of automatically attack when you run up to enemy troops.
Remember that.
But then you can use those 3 attacks in the bottom right corner as like specialty things.
Do not worry. The squad
So I don't remember any of this. Is this playing like Dynasty Warriors? I mean, how is it? How would you compare it?
I wouldn't say it does because you're less important in this
Now
game.
you have to learn a
It's
bit
more
about the
important about
special
like
attacks.
the troops you have around
Shall we
you.
begin with the sword and
Okay.
shield squad?
So, like I was saying, so this sword and shield squad, I walked up them and took them over, but at any time you can walk up to a different squad and take them over instead. So if you want different kinds of troops, which it'll show you in a second here. But so I see this is my squad, and like it's kind of like you really aren't.
Close the distance and then
I
let
don't know if it changes later on, but I never really felt like I was a special kind of soldier. I was just kind of one of the soldiers.
You need to keep an eye
So
on
I
your
didn't feel like I could just
morale,
go
not
through and
your
kind
life.
of mow everybody down by myself.
You have defeated quite a number of them. Thanks to that, your squad's morale is high.
And so, yeah, what it's saying is like morale kind of plays a big part in this. So you can kind of reduce the morale of your opponents, but also you want to increase.
Promise.
And I love how the flag guy just kind of standing in the middle of all this circus.
Well, morale is a huge thing in Dynasty Warriors, obviously too. I mean, is it you're basically taking out the leader?
Yeah.
Squads.
In a little bit, it'll show where I'm actually going after the leader, and that
Okay.
can have the negative morale
Yeah.
penalty on a certain force.
Because I mean, that's kind of Dynasty Warrior strategy. Is just go after the leader. Well, basically, go off on your own, destroy all the leaders because your comrades are incompetent, and go around and destroy every general, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like in a game like that, at least from what I've played, I feel like you can do it more solo.
Yeah.
But in this, like, I was kind of feeling like you can't. And you do kind of. But it is really weird, just like the attack
Squads
way,
are
because
highly
it's.
mobile.
I guess Bruce and Dragon Age Inquisition is kind of similar, where you hold the R2 and to do your melee attacks.
Quickly.
So we'll get into a little more the fun of horse control later on, which made me laugh and made the guy from Koei Tecmo laugh when he watched me
Once you
play.
master them, you are ready for battle. Go find a squad of archers.
So this was like the archers were a weird thing because you can see it a little bit at this point. So like if you see like the level 1 there, that's a character
Yeah.
that you kind of talk to in a way, and then you take over that squad. But the archers were really weird because I couldn't figure out like how I was controlling them, like how they were shooting and which direction they were going to shoot in and everything. So. Because it almost seemed like at times they were just doing whatever they wanted.
Archers die quickly if the enemy gets too close. You must maintain a safe distance.
And it is kind of weird because there's a bunch of just
The enemy presses
chaos
on
going
you.
on screen. all the
Yeah,
time.
it looks like it, especially protecting the archers. It looks, especially having played the Dynasty Warriors games, quite a few of them, and having to rely on that AI. To me, that would be the big worry. Is like, okay, how is this actually going to be all playable when you're relying so much more on the anime AI than you are in the Dynasty Warriors games?
Right, and that was one of the concerns that came out with was the AI, and like you're saying, like how much can you rely on them, and because you kind of have to in this game. Like they're like, I'm just kind of like shooting at the ground. So I couldn't figure out like what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, those are not exactly the most pinpoint archers. And all firing at like the same guy. I mean, did they say whether they had made any changes, gameplay wise in this game versus the original version?
It didn't seem like it from the kind of answers I was getting.
Yeah.
That it was more of like a graphical update and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was asking was like, okay, have you had a chance to put like more soldiers on screen? And it didn't sound like there was really a soldier increase. It was just more like the visuals and how much better they were compared to the old version.
The skirmish is coming to a conclusion. The real battle starts soon. The battle looms.
He just said the same thing twice.
Okay, so now we're getting past the kind of introductory training part, and I'll actually get into the game. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess it's... I mean, I've never been in a giant battle in the past, so I don't know, but I guess I do kind of assume it would be rather chaotic. People just like running around, like, swinging swords at each other.
It would be chaotic, but I don't think all the archers would be firing at one soldier. I think... I don't know about this this AI here.
So this map here is kind of showing you, and I kind of just hurry up and faded it out to that part. It's kind of showing you like the different sections of the map and who has control of what.
Huh? Are you still nervous? Then be of good cheer. I will fight with you. But you must carry your own weight.
But it would be kind of weird, like, I mean, if you're going back and forth between the sides, like, because this mission I'm doing right here, I'm trying to go in and capture a fort. But then it'd be weird, like, my next mission was to go take that fort back. And I'm just kind of like, going against what I just did. So it's kind of weird that you're almost like playing against yourself, depending on how you play this.
Well, it was kind of like that in Shinobito, where if you went through one side, you would continuously weaken the other side. And
right.
I think I picked one particular side in that game, and I don't know how it would play out if you didn't.
So I mean, you can kind of see that you can, and to some degree, kind of solo things, but really, the point is to have your squad around you and have them attacking, because you don't really have like all the combat options of Dynasty Warriors or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel overly powerful? I mean, how do you feel? Cause
I felt like pretty average.
Yeah, because in Dynasty Warriors, you feel so much more powerful than and they have so many different powers, and they're also like Asian. So
they're also like Asian.
Maybe that's no, but I mean they have like all the this sort of like Japanese, Chinese sort of techniques depending on.
So being Asian gives you superpowers.
But I mean it's different. It's a different type of combat than.
You can obviously see there are some AI issues.
Oh my gosh.
Here. And I had a problem too with like I mean I know like the whole color thing, but when you get like this many people in one group, it's kind of hard to remember like who's what and who you're supposed to be fighting.
This is not good. With them, you would be fighting at a disadvantage.
I don't know what that even means. I wasn't sure what that meant in terms of what I was doing.
Yeah, I don't know about this translation here.
So yeah, so certain enemies will have like the kind of graphical things above them, like different effects on it, to tell you if they're either like weaker or stronger than you.
Right. We have arrived near our target. Now we must capture it.
And I mean, I guess to be fair, like Koei Tecmo's games have always been a little bit of just throw you in and expect you to figure things out sometimes.
Yeah, I remember back in the day playing like Genghis Khan and Rise of the Kingdoms and sort of figuring things out on my own.
And I'm just trying to chase this one guy down.
Base captured, and you have accomplished something. To a mercenary, accomplishments bring fame, and fame is everything to us. So do your best. One way is to head deep inside with your allies. That works.
So like I said, this is kind of part of the weirdness about the combat system because it is like the holding the button in. You can't necessarily always like run and then attack at the same time. So you kind of like run to a certain point and then start attacking.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm seeing here, it doesn't look like it was the smoothest experience for you.
And I'm not sure if Andy was a proper English commander name back then, but.
There is an opponent that you have an advantage over.
But I mean, it's weird because like I can sit here and say like all the little quirks about this game, but I did kind of have fun, and I was walked away kind of being like, you know what, I would want to try more of this just because it's such a weird and different game compared to a lot of other stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like the PC kind of sometimes gets more of these. This isn't really a true strategy game, but they get more of these kind of
It's
games.
sort of real-time strategy-esque.
Right.
To an extent. But again, that's the thing. Is I'm not like huge into real-time strategy, but you really have to. The balance has to be really right in those type of games. Otherwise, the entire experience goes down the drain.
Right.
And that's my worry here. Especially with these guys constantly seeming to run into houses. Just.
And they were saying it was early, but I don't know. You never know what that means.
Well, it's weird they would be early because the game was already done. Like, I mean,
right. That's like does that mean early in terms of are they doing tweaks for the Western release, or they just kind of like one of those things that people say to you when you're looking at games?
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I have no recollection of how things were back when I played this back in the day. So I don't recall any of that stuff happening.
Oh, so yeah, there's a commander. I'm still fighting the commander here, and then once you kill the commander, that drops your enemy's what was it? Morale.
We only need to capture one more. The next base is a fairly large one. Shall we capture it together? Oh, but before we do that, I must needs show you how to work together.
I can't figure out if that's like an intentionally sort of foreignish translation or if they completely messed up there.
So yeah, like moments like this, I get kind of confused. Like, okay, are these all my guys? Like are they just like, because there are a few times where enemies will just kind of stand around and look at you. So there are sometimes we get confused as to.
The point is, you have to pay attention to me as well.
And this was another weird thing because they're showing the fact that I'm showing the fact that you can switch back and forth between your characters, but I wasn't always certain if like my character would keep up with the other one. So I didn't know if I should just play the main character and have the AI character keep up if they would, but. So anyway, up on the mini map in the upper right, you can see I'm kind of heading up towards that garrison or whatever it is, a fort up there to take over. This is where I get my horse. And horse combat was weird too because there are, like the charge, for example, the charge you do just while you're moving, but the other ones you have to be holding the R1 button to be attacking, and then you can press the button.
So is this the same battle or is this a different battle?
So this is the same kind of battle. It's like, it's a bunch of little battles. It's just that my mission was to go up and capture this base that I'm heading towards capturing.
Because it looks like the sky has completely changed. And
yeah,
like
it does kind of, because of the way I cut it, the video, you aren't seeing fully the day to night cycle.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's just part of the mission itself. Like if the mission is said to be like you start off in the daytime and it goes to night, or if it just depends on how long you play for. But yeah, you can kind of see this horse is very
I know.
a very agile horse.
I don't think that's how horses move.
No. That's just showing the fact that like when you're, because I'm holding the attack button down to attack them, so when you're in that kind of mode, your horse can strafe and walk back and everything. But then running normally, obviously the horse kind of moves like that. I had, I really found like the sword and shield to be the most effective, kind of, and because, there were a few times when it was just, okay, it's easier for me to kind of run in and attack the main guy.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I could not get the archers to work. I did not know what I was doing about the archers. The horse was interesting, but it was, his movement here aside, he was still kind of acting like a horse sometimes.
Yeah.
So it'd be easy to kind of, run past the enemy you were trying to attack.
Well, I mean, there are horse sections in Dynasty Warrior stuff, and they always seem to work pretty well for me. So I don't remember anything like this either.
Okay, so this is Nightmare mode. And the story here is that Joan of Arc has turned evil, and she is now commanding an army of demonic or goblins. I don't know if there's all goblins, but she's commanding an army of demons.
So she's basically become the Nobunaga of this war, then.
Yes.
Because Nobunaga always somehow commands demons.
Yes. I don't think he did like in the original games, like way back.
Well, no, not in the original. Original Nobunaga's ambitions were history based,
right.
But I mean, at some point, Nobunaga
Yes.
turned into this like pseudo human commander who always commands demons in Japanese games where he appears.
So yeah, you're seeing that things have taken quite a turn, and this was really bizarre because the first half of this game, the way the game originally was this more. I mean, I don't say realistic, but it was a more reality-based France versus England in the 100 Years' War. And then all of a sudden for this expansion, it's like, okay, now there's demons.
Don't overextend. After we've slowed down their attack.
Are you sure that guy's not Japanese? He looks pretty Japanese to me.
Is. And and it's more like character-based and stuff. So this almost feels, in a way, like kind of old Koei Tecmo versus new Koei Tecmo.
Mm-hmm.
I have opposed you in battle. I do not remember such caution when I faced you then.
You sure are right. I am not myself of late. But enough.
I mean, he's got to have some Japanese.
Yeah. Well, even this Joan of Arc, I'm sure she's like an eighth Japanese.
Or he's just like the first otaku there ever was.
I feel.
And that's not Joan. This right here is Joan.
Oh, this is okay. That's Joan.
Yeah.
The 14th century. The interminable cycle of fighting that raged between England and France was broken by the sudden appearance of hordes of monstrous demons. These monsters rampaged throughout the land, destroying and killing all in their path. Faced with this overwhelming threat, England and France call a truce to their battle. Though they work together to face this evil, even their combined might cannot stem the tide. With the situation already grim, they are struck another blow by rumors of the darkest sort. They say the Maid of Orleans, Joan of Arc, leads the monstrous hordes. Uncertain and unbelieving, the combined force marches to Gascony to fight. There they discover two mercenaries who claim to be chasing Joan. And in the hand of one is gripped a strangely mysterious sword.
Soul Calibur.
And this is actually what's written now in Texas high school history books. After that whole big brouhaha down there.
Now, was a reason giving for? It seems like this is not the real Joan of Arc, and she's supposed to be an imposter. I mean, was a reason given?
That might be the big swerve at the end.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's any swerve going on here. It seems like there's an imposter thing going on here.
But no, it just is just so weird. I mean, it's such a weird twist to take to this game.
Our ultimate goal is
that.
And I appreciate the Japanese developers existing because I don't think that a Western developer would think to or have the audacity to do something like this.
But perhaps I will undertake to explain just one more time.
This is me trying to figure out the archers again and not being successful at it. Because it's like, zoom in, but I zoomed in and I didn't have a reticle or anything, so I didn't know what zooming in really got me. But so in this part of the game, you are, at least this part, you're both attacking goblins and turning goblins to your side.
Okay.
So you can do certain things to get goblins on your team. So in a minute here, there'll be a big squad of goblins, and I'll start attacking it. But then I realize they're my guys. So I really want to know what the mindset for this was. How did they decide that this was what needed to be the expansion for this game?
I mean, did you talk with them at all about it?
There was a producer from the American side.
Yeah.
Or no, not even a producer, just a different marketing or something like that.
So he was an American guy then.
Yeah, he was from the American team.
Okay, yeah.
So he wasn't part of the actual development.
So he can't get inside the mind of the people who did this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if it's one night of all the office guys go to the yakitori place after work and drink too much sake. And you're like, what would be cool?
I think it just seems like a natural thing to the Japanese is to make historical characters command demon. I mean, we saw that with what was that game? That horrible game with the Nazis.
There's been a few of those.
Yeah, no, it was a Japanese strategy game.
Is that the one? Did Atlas publish
Yes,
that?
yes. God, what was that game?
I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I can't remember these games that went together, but yeah, that was again Hitler commanding werewolves and things like that.
Yeah, Japan really likes demons. I don't know why. But so I mean, this is going to end in a minute here. So really, this is Bladestorm. I said, I'm weirdly interested in it now. Like,
well, now seeing this mode, I am too actually, and yeah, it's we don't really get these kind of games over here anymore, where it's sort of like not exactly a huge budget kind of like guilty pleasure type thing.
Right.
It might not be the best game, but it'll entertain you. It looks like
that's part of what I'm interested in. Is like it is one of those games that can fit still between the AAA blockbuster and the indie title, that reminds you of just those wacky projects that you've loved all throughout gaming.
Especially with the translation.
Yeah, and so I don't necessarily need I don't need this to be like super polished or anything. Just as long as it's entertaining and does interesting things all throughout it.
Yeah, I sort of felt the way with the Way of the Samurai 4. It wasn't the most polished game, and actually had to cut some corners with the localization. But as a game, it was not a bad game. It was an enjoyable game.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm curious. I should know offhand when this is coming out. I did not have that up. Let's see. Bladestorm. Oh, that's right. It got pushed back just a little bit, I do believe.
Oh, but before we do that,
let's
I must
in Europe.
show you how to work together.
I should have this offhand, shouldn't
Spread out and fight.
I? Yeah, March 17th over here. So it's out pretty soon, and it's so PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. So yeah, like I said, I am curious to play more. I will not be, it's nice going into a game like this, because if it sucks, you're not really shocked. You're not really like heartbroken or anything.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I didn't know, what to expect. But if it's fun and interesting and different, which this, at least my playing seemed like it was, then you're like, okay, I think I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I believe EGM gave it a 6.5 back in the day, which I mean, if it still is at that level, I mean, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. So anyway, for Andrew, I am Eric, and this has been our look at Bladestorm Nightmare.